Hey everyone, Kevin Lewis with Home Life Benchmark Titus Realty, and it's time for your January 2022 Fraser Valley Real Estate Market Update. Another year has come and gone, and my oh my, what a year it was for the real estate industry. 2021 broke several records, the first most obvious record being total number of sales, and it absolutely obliterated 2016's previous record by over 5,000 more sales. Now, in addition to that, we have to keep in mind that we had all-time low inventory numbers. In fact, December 2021 finished with the all-time low in 41 years for the total number of inventory. Now, if we're going to look back 41 years, we have to look at the total number of homes that actually exist in the Fraser Valley. And that number, I don't have any data on that, but we can certainly draw conclusions and speculate that we are significantly more homes that exist today than did 41 years ago, and we haven't dipped to the number of homes listed on the market that low for 41 years. So we can pretty easily draw the conclusion that we are at an all-time low for the total number of homes that are available for sale in the Fraser Valley right now. So I often get people wondering, well, when's the market going to come down? Is it going to crash? Is there a bubble? Well, based on what I just said about the inventory being at an all-time low, the basic laws of supply and demand dictate that when demand is high and supply is low, prices will go up. And we just touched on the fact that supply is at its lowest time ever, and we broke the total number of sales record for the 2021 for the year. I think we can make a correlation between those two things, that demand is at a very, very high level, perhaps an all-time high level, and inventories are at an all-time low level. It's pretty simple to draw the conclusion that prices are likely to continue to rise throughout the year. Now, speaking of December 2021, it was the second most active December on history, second only to December 2020 when this boom was already in full swing. However, we have to recognize that December 2021 had half the number of available listings as we had in December 2020. Had the number of available listings been where we were a year ago, I could speculate pretty easily that December 2021 would have absolutely shattered December 2020's sales record. So what does all this really mean for the market and what's to come into the future? Well, we can, as we already touched on today, we can draw the conclusion that we are likely to see prices continue to rise. I don't speculate that we're going to see the same price increase we saw year to year across 2021, that we're going to see that in 2022. I think it will be quite a bit lower. I'm thinking somewhere in the 10% range, give or take, depending on the type of home that you have and the area that you live in. But I am definitely forecasting some fairly significant growth, higher than average for an annual increase in your home's value. So how should all of this information affect what you're thinking of doing as far as making a move goes? Well, it really depends on what your situation is. If you're looking to make a move up to a new tier of home, we could pretty comfortably say that you've likely got quite a bit of extra equity in your home, unless you've done something with your finances and gotten a new mortgage or something like that. Of course, everybody's situation is going to be unique, so I'm going to talk in general terms here. But if you've owned your home for a couple of years, there's a very, very good chance that you have a bunch of equity that you're not using currently. And if you are thinking about making a move up, that equity is only going to help with your down payment amount. And we have to take into account that interest rates are still quite low. Although they are on the rise and they have risen over the last year, they're likely to continue to rise through this year, so we can recognize that right now is probably the most affordable that homes will be going into the future. So if you are looking to make that move up, it's probably pretty handy to use that current equity to help with your down payment and take advantage of the lower interest rates, and before prices go up even further, with those interest rates going up, making getting into that next home that much more difficult. I think a lot of people would be quite surprised at how much they could afford in their next home if they already own a home and have that equity built up. So if you are in that situation and you think, oh, it's impossible, prices are too high, my condo just hasn't gone up enough in order to buy into the next level of a townhouse or a detached home, I think a lot of people would be quite surprised once they actually do some investigating and find out A, what their home is worth, and B, how much equity they actually have in order to put that down payment, and to find out that their monthly payments on a much larger mortgage than what they currently have, depending on when you got your mortgage initially and what your rates are, you can probably afford quite a bit more home than you might think you can. So if this sounds like a situation that you might be in, definitely be sure to give me a call and we can get things started and get you set up with some mortgage professionals to really give you an idea of what the real numbers for your situation might be. Now, if you've got an investment property or you're thinking of selling and getting out of the market for whatever reason, I wouldn't say there's as big a rush to make a move happen as there might be if you are making that move up to the next property. As I said, I am forecasting prices to continue to rise. Of course, if prices are going to rise and you're not buying back into the market for whatever reason, then you want to get as much money for your home as you can. And I would think by the end of the year, like I said, I'm forecasting approximately a 10% increase year to year. It may be lower than that, it may be higher, it just depends on so many different factors. But most likely there's not a rush to make that sale happen if you don't have to sell. Now, when it comes to buying, especially if you're not selling first, I would still say that now is probably the best time to do so going into the future. However, we do have to recognize that there are going to be obstacles into the market. Number one, of course, being that prices are quite high. Although, as I already said, I do think that homes are probably more affordable today than they will be anytime going into the future due to both prices continuing to increase as well as interest rates increasing. Also, with the supply being as low as it is, we have to recognize that there's about, depending on the type of home you're buying, anywhere from 3 to 6 buyers that are also looking for every home that's listed. So your competition is much greater. And this is something we've touched on several times over the last couple months. A lot of people are going subject free on homes or overpaying for homes. I use the term overpaying loosely as the market will likely catch up to that overpaid price and surpass it quite quickly. However, it is a very difficult pill to swallow when you see that the last comparable home sold for $480 and maybe we have to go to $500 to get this home. That pill becomes much easier to swallow 6 months down the road when all of a sudden the similar unit in that same building ends up selling for $550 and you've already got 50 grand equity built up just from since the time you purchased 6 months prior. So it's all about framing how you look at things in order to swallow that bitter pill of the increasing prices that we're currently in, and also to compete with the other buyers that are there. Now, I often get buyers saying, oh, look, I don't want to go into multiple offer situation. I don't want to have anything to do with that. What I often say to that is, well, think about the situation. If you don't make an offer, we can guarantee you one thing. You're not going to get that house, because if you don't make an offer, you can't buy it. However, if we make an offer and we don't get it, we're in the exact same situation. If we do make an offer and we put the highest number that you're willing to pay for that home, and you happen to get the home, well, great, you bought a home. That's the whole goal of what's going on here. However, if you put that number forward and you don't end up getting it, well, great, then you haven't overpaid, in your opinion, for the home, and you're in the exact same position you would be without making that offer. But if you were willing to pay, let's say for example, you're willing to pay $1.5 million for a specific home, and you decide, it's multiple offers, I don't want to make the offer, it's not going to be very exciting for you to see if that home ends up selling for $1.45 million, $50,000 less than what you would have been willing to pay, because you would have been in multiple offers, but there's still a very good chance that you would have actually bought that home for the price that you would have been willing to pay. So in my opinion, it's always better to try an offer at a number that you feel you're comfortable with on a particular home than it is to avoid writing an offer because you don't want to be involved in multiple offer situations. No matter which of these positions you're in, if you are thinking about buying or selling real estate in the near future, whether it be in the next couple months, within the next year of 2022, or even maybe you're thinking a couple years out, it's never too early to start planning. So make sure you get in touch with me today, 604-218-5635. Email me at kevin@kevinlewis.com. Leave me a message in the comments below. However you want to get in touch with me, be sure to get in touch so that we can start making your unique plan to get you into your next home. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.